Welcome back to the Preppy Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Today I have a fun episode with the founder of York Design Co. I have known her for many years and we reminisce on this at the beginning of the episode. But beyond obviously having a lovely conversation with Laura, loving her brand and these amazing already finished needlepoint products. So they have cuffs, they have clutches, they have tote bags, just great products if you don't feel like stitching on your own. But I love the reason and that they're giving back as well with the brand. So I'll let Laura tell the story behind and how they got there and the purpose of the business. But before we get into this week's episode, a few reminders. The one is that I am giving away 2 tickets to Camp Preppy, Colorado. If you subscribe to the Preppy Podcast YouTube channel, just search the Preppy Podcast or Patricia May Olson. We're really trying to grow that, and it's a great way to watch the episode. So all you have to do is subscribe and then DM me and let me know that you subscribed so that I can check that, and you'll automatically be entered to win a ticket to Camp Preppy, Colorado. The only thing is, though, the winner obviously has to pay for their way to get there and then their hotel room in our room block. But it's going to be a fabulous time. And there are still tickets if you want to purchase a ticket for Camp Preppy, Colorado, and then Camp Preppy Kennebunkport in October. I believe we just have like 1 ticket left. So feel free to grab that last one. And as always, you can join us at Club Preppy if you go to thepreppypodcast.com, where we do monthly virtual events. This month, for example, we have a little course where we're learning how to make bracelets from the Fancy Society, as well as we are going to be learning how to make a crudité dip. So lots of fun things, and I hope you guys will join us. So all that information you can find at thepreppypodcast.com. Okay, so why don't you first let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
Okay, I'm Laura Stone, and I'm the founder and owner of York Design Company, and I live right outside of the Washington, D.C. area in the suburbs.
Excellent. And so Laura and we met years ago, like probably over 10 years ago. I don't even know how. I was dating a guy that lived in DC at the time, so I was in DC a lot. And I don't remember if it was like Brittany who introduced us or if we just met on social media or how.
I think it was Brittany at first, and then we met on social media, and we were traveling in the same like preppy blog circles and following the same people, and we did a couple of collaborations together. I remember, like at the onset of Instagram. So yeah, it's been a really long time because I started York Designs in 2012. So
Wow. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. That like such a blast from the past.
so it was like at the very beginning. Yes.
Yes. So cool. Okay. So let's start that. You as a child, what was your childhood like? Were you someone creative, entrepreneurial, into fashion and style? Like, tell me a little bit about growing up.
Okay, so my whole family is from New England. So my mom's side of the family is all from Connecticut. My dad's side of the family is all from Boston. So New England roots. And then when I was in elementary school, we moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is like a totally different landscape situation setup. So I would say I was super creative. I've always loved art. I've always loved like fashion and design, but my like background came from such different, like all different places. So I have a sister, so it was just the 4 of us, my mom, dad, my sister, and me, that grew up in Cincinnati. And I will say that my mom dressed us like really preppy growing up, but she was like a prep school girl, and so she was dressing us in like Lily before Lily was a thing, and like plaid and madras and what is it where you have the like smocked dresses.
Okay. Yep.
And like when we were in Cincinnati, nobody knew what that kind of stuff was. So like my sister and I were kind of fish out of water. So then we like forged our own style, I would say.
Yep.
Because like it was the era of like showing your midriff and Britney Spears and whatever. So I would have like a popped collar and like a grosgrain ribbon belt, and like my stomach would be showing with crimped hair. So it was just like a meld of styles. So I would say I've like taken that with me, and I think that's very reflective of York Design Company as well. So.
Yes, I love that. I remember those like times, the era with the crimped hair, the ribbon belts, all of it. So when it came time for college then, where and what did you end up studying? Was it something that had to do with business or entrepreneurship or fashion, or did you do something completely different?
Okay, so I started at Miami University in Ohio. which was like the 13th grade, because everybody in my high school went to like 3 different schools.
Okay.
So I did my first year there, and then I decided that I wanted to go further away. So I went to the University of Richmond, and I studied communication, marketing, and rhetoric. And I minored in political science because I've always loved political theater. So, yeah, I originally thought I was going to go into like TV, television production, marketing, stuff like that. And I melded the two worlds with politics and TV.
So cool. I love that. And that's funny, like that you said like 13th year for college, and so you transferred then for a little bit of change of scene.
Yeah, I didn't know a soul. So I totally just went to a whole new world and tried something totally different. And it was like the best experience of my life. Some of my
Yeah.
best friends are my Richmond friends, and will be forever. So.
And you stayed on the East Coast then, right after, right?
Yep. So then after Richmond, it was only like an hour and a half. It's 90 miles to DC. So I was just interviewing, day trips my senior year, and that's how I ended up in DC.
Okay, so then tell me a little bit about your first career, where that landed you, what you did with it, and then that leading into York Design Company, because that's around that time then, right, that you
Yep,
launched.
exactly. So I ended up at the Department of Justice,
Okay.
and I was doing PR and communications for the Department of Justice in the Criminal Tax Division.
Wow.
So it was cool and it was fun, but it was also, there were days where it was so dry. And I have always been a needle pointer. So like there would be times on the metro or when I was watching TV, and my boyfriend, now husband at the time, would be watching baseball. So I was constantly needle pointing. And I kind of was having these ideas like while I was working during these like dry spells where it was just talking about criminal tax evasion, where I would come up with new designs. And I started making my own designs. And in college, I made some bracelets for some friends, and then the word of mouth got around. So I was like making them.
Okay.
It wasn't really a business, but it was kind of like a little side thing that I just liked to do.
Well, how did you learn needlepoint to begin with? Like, when did you learn? Like, was it from your mom or someone?
It was from my mom, because
Okay.
she's done it in her family forever. And she taught me. And so I would kind of dabble in it throughout childhood. Like I wasn't crazy about it, but I just did it. And then in college, I really got into it.
Which I feel like is so ahead of the time, because now needlepoint is everywhere. Everyone is needlepointing, like after COVID. And back then, like I probably didn't even know what needlepoint was technically. At first, I was like, oh, this looks beautiful. Like I love the design, but like I probably wasn't grasping the concept of like it started with a canvas, and then like canvas is painted on, and then it's stitched and all of that. So you were like so ahead of it.
Well, it's funny because my friends would make fun of me and they'd be like, what is this thing? And I'm like, it was like a little bit embarrassing. I mean, the product, like the actual thing that came out was cool, but when I was like sitting there stitching, I'm like, okay, grandma, but now everybody's into grandma hobby. So yeah.
Yeah.
But then at night I started going to grad school and I got my master's in PR at Georgetown.
Okay.
And one of our capstone thesis projects was to come up with a brand. And so that's how I parlayed York Design Company into a business.
Okay. I think that's so cool. And it's so funny because I feel like we have so much in common. Like if I wasn't doing PR for brands and, lifestyle businesses, then I totally would go into politics instead. And like I dabbled in that a little bit right out of college. But I just find it like fascinating, and just like I think fashion is fascinating and you get to meet cool people, and I think the same with politics and like there's
absolutely.
events, and yes. Yeah. So okay, you have this project with grad school to come up with a business, and that kind of pushes it in to be a business, right? So what were some of those first steps, like in terms of, did you create a website then? Like how did you scale from just creating a few products for friends as gifts to actually having product to sell to customers and people that you didn't know?
So I put a website up.
Okay.
And I started on WordPress. I think WordPress was like the hot ticket at the time. So I did that. And I took all of my bracelets, instead of finishing them myself, I took them all to a cobbler in DC. And he would like back it with the leather and put the insert in the middle. And he was making them into these cuffs. In fact, I have if you want to see my original.
Yes.
These are my two, like I always have these with me just because, but you can see it's like super thick
Yes.
and he's like black leather in it because it's just like whatever he had. But this
Yeah.
was one of my first.
Wow.
And then we kind of just like iterated it. And then I started searching like late at night on Alibaba to try and find somebody that could stitch quickly and make these products. And I worked with a few different factories and I finally found one that I really loved. And I've been working with them since 2012. So
Wow.
to this day, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I don't even know if I would have known what Alibaba was back then. So the fact that you knew that and could use it to your advantage, find the right partner, and take this business then to the next level.
I will say it was a lot of trial and error. So there were a couple of times where I did send money and never heard from people again.
Oh no. Okay.
Which, yeah, I mean, it does happen. So you have to just like, you have to be smart. You have to trust the process. And luckily, the people that I really loved and the people that I felt comfortable with and had like a good vibe with ended up being the ones that we're still working with. So,
oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and they've been amazing with just like anything that I dream up, like new products or trying new things and samples and stuff like that. They do whatever they can. They jump through hoops of fire. They're wonderful to work with. So they try to make my dreams come to reality. So,
and how great that you've been able to stay with them this long then. I feel like that's unheard of, especially after COVID times and all of that. So tell me then, I know you have the cuffs, you have clutches now too, you have keychains. How did you decide what product assortment to make and to add and grow with?
That's a good question. I think it's just kind of like, I loved the bracelets first because they were a quick stitch and B, something that I wanted to wear. So then I just kept thinking about what I would want or what I would need. So the keychain was kind of the next thing. Okay. And then the clutch was after that because I wanted to start wearing them out with, adding it to my outfits. So
yeah. Okay. That makes total sense. And what about like getting the word out? Because once you have this business, then you find your manufacturer, you have your product narrowed down. Then how did you spread the word?
Definitely friends and family. So word of mouth was one way. And then the other way it was like the very start of Instagram. And Instagram was a totally different beast than it is now. And so getting your product out there and having eyes on it and being one of the first, I would say, needlepoint, was easier because A, people had never seen it before, so it would stop the scroll, and B, like the algorithms weren't as crazy, so you could actually showcase what you were doing. And I grew really fast, I would say, on Instagram.
Okay, and I like we talked about, that's kind of how we met, I think, through
That's how we met, yeah.
Who I had met on Instagram, and then we had connected on Instagram. So it is so true. I feel like I've had so many great friendships on Instagram, and met people that otherwise, like, I probably wouldn't have met you just walking on the streets of DC. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like some influencers like Carly probably posted you back then. And then there was that magazine,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was reading for it, and I feel like that might be part of how we met, and in that group, Brittany.
Sweet Lemon.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh, yes. Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah, so, well, being in PR, I pitched myself all day, every day. And so, yeah, I guess that's another way I spread the word. I just, emailed whoever wanted to open my email. And, 100 times you email somebody and one time somebody gets back to you, but sometimes that's all you need.
Exactly. That's what I always say. Like, you always have to throw everything against the wall, see what sticks. You'll get a lot of no's, but that one yes is worth it, and you never know where that one yes leads, like who they refer you to, and so on. So that's so funny. Wow, that Sweet Lemon magazine is a big throwback. I feel like a lot of my listeners probably know what we're talking about too, because it's very preppy, and
it was really good too. I mean,
it was good, and it was all run by like young, like we were all just graduated college, and all of us were writing for it. And the woman who founded it was young too. So what a time!
Yeah, I know, right?
So tell me a little bit about then, growing the business, because obviously now it's been over 10 years since you've had it. So what were sort of some of the big milestones or things that changed in the business then in those 10 years?
Okay, that's a good question. So peaks and valleys for sure. I would say, so way back at the beginning, where what we were just talking about. I was in the Junior League of Washington D.C., and we do like this big book fair on the National Mall every year. And one of the things that I did was I wore a few cuffs like stacked, and one of the guest speakers at that year was Hoda Kotb, and she was signing a book. And I went up to her tent and I was like, obviously, I'm a huge fan. Like, I don't want to be annoying, but I really want to give this to you. And she was as gracious as could be, exactly what you see on TV. Like, her personality was like, oh my gosh, I love this. She was so nice about it. She wore it for me throughout the entire rest of the book fair, let me take pictures, the whole thing. And then I got to be on like the Steals and Deals segment on the Today Show.
Yeah.
Not me personally, but the cuffs.
Yeah.
When she was doing it with Kathy Lee. So that was a big milestone for me.
Yes.
And then I was also on the Bethany Frankel show when she had her talk show, helping women in business.
Okay. And how did that come about? Was that just
that came about because my cousin was a producer and she had connections, and so she helped me write the application for the segment. Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
It was
That's
great.
so cool. I do remember seeing both of those, and I think a lesson that listeners can take from that, and something that I do as a PR person as well, is sometimes you can connect with people by just attending an event and showing up and giving them something instead of having to track down like mailing addresses or, try to connect with their people. If you just show up and like hand someone a gift, sometimes that leads somewhere. And that's happened to me before. It's happened to you. So I think that's a good sneaky way through a door.
Yeah.
Right.
I think sometimes you have to just show up and act like you belong, even if you don't, and just kind of figure it out as you go. That's what I think. Those are like my favorite experiences, are times when I've done that and just one thing has led to another. Like, you just have to kind of go for it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about some more like peaks and valleys. What were like some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
Okay, so COVID was a very interesting time for everybody in business. Obviously, there was a huge needlepoint shortage of like canvases and threads and all that kind of stuff. So that was tricky, but it was manageable. And I was doing the business throughout. And then in 2021, so still COVID, but like, I don't know, it was like half 1 foot in COVID, half one foot out COVID. We were still masking, but people were going out and whatever.
Yeah.
My daughter was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was the summer of 2021, and she was 3 at the time.
Oh.
And I literally, Patricia, when I tell you, I shut my laptop and I didn't open it back up again. Like, I walked away from my job in the government. I walked away from York Designs. I walked away from my friends. I walked away from everything. I was just like, I'm going to put all of my energy into making sure she gets better. That's the only thing that matters to me.
Yeah.
And I did that. And so, that was a huge challenge. I mean, not in business, but in life, that was a huge challenge.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And so, but it did affect my business, obviously. So, I was pregnant at the time, and I had my older daughter who was 5, and I really just wanted to throw a blanket over my head and say, wake me up when this is all over and she's fine. But I had my daughter and a soon-to-be son, so I had to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I completely lost my like artistic passion and my creativity and, just desire to do anything fun. I was just like head down trying to make sure she was going to get better. But I did promise myself that when we got to the other side of this, and she did get better, then I would restart York Design Company and donate proceeds to the cause, and to help other families like us find solutions and cures for these kids, because it is something that no parent and certainly no child should ever have to ever go through.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I just, first of all, I'm so sorry. I'm so happy that, she's better now, and that you were able to share this story and do good, from it, right? I remember when, like I said, I've known you for a while and followed you, and you posted a video maybe a month or two, like a little bit ago, kind of explaining your journey as an entrepreneur, this story, the passion and the cause behind it, and giving back. And I was just so inspired by that. I think A, it's so vulnerable, and B, turning, lemons into lemonade and doing good with it now is just so inspiring. So I thank you for doing that. and sharing with everyone. And I was talking offline to you right before this, saying how we had your cuffs at Camp Preppy, and the ladies loved them. They were fighting over different styles depending on, what schools they attend or some of the cute preppy motifs. And then I shared that portion of the business that, you give back and the cause behind it. And they love that. I mean, they felt so moved by that. They're like, can we make a donation like from us Camp Preppy ladies together? And so I think that's so important, and it changes the business, right? If there's a cause and a reason for what you're doing. It's not just a fashion business or a bracelet business or a needlepoint business. It's much more than that now, right?
It's much more than that. And I will say this. I spent a lot of time in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep because there was so much uncertainty and, are these treatments going to work and what's going to happen and whatever. And I was just always scrolling and always researching and always looking for a story of hope for somebody that had the same cancer that she did. It's called Wilms tumor. It's pediatric kidney cancer.
Okay.
And it was so hard to find anything. And most of the things that you find are stories that might not end successfully. And I wanted to find a bunch of stories that did end successfully so that I could like envision that and kind of manifest it and pray for it and visualize, the finish line. And it was really, really hard. So I want to be that for somebody else. Like there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there can be hope. And especially if we keep donating to this cause where, we're almost at a cure, we can almost get to a cure. So the rates are really high and we want to make it 100%. So
I love that. I love that you can be that hope for someone when they need it. And I think in today's world with social media, there's so many things that come up on your algorithm that's so depressing, and you get in like this doom scroll sort of situation. So I think being able to be that light for other people and, not just shopping to shop, but shop and feel good about what you're purchasing is so special, right?
Yeah. Win-win.
Exactly. So tell me a little about your design process then, like how you come up with the patterns, the motifs, the colors, like where do you get inspiration from?
I love color. So I will always go louder rather than quieter. I love pink. And that inspires me the most. I would say colors and color inspiration just from kind of wherever I'm seeing beautiful landscapes or flowers or fashion. Fashion is a big indicator for me.
Yes.
And I would say my motifs are mainly about hobbies that I like to do. So I play golf, I play tennis, I have my chinoiserie stuff because this is like how I decorate my house.
Yep.
And I have my sailboats because this is summer stuff. Beach related, like just things that I like, and then whatever sells and people respond to is what I keep replicating in some way, whether it's the exact same or I make iterations of the same things. That's kind of what inspires my designs. So it starts with me, and then it's like whatever people respond to.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The golf cart one, that's my favorite one. That's the one I have. I just think it's so cute, and so preppy.
I wear that one like every day.
Yeah,
almost every day. Yeah, it matches a lot of stuff. So.
So tell me, obviously having Hoda wear your products and being on Bethany, those are huge moments for the brand. But if you could pick anyone else to, wear one of your cuffs, use one of your keychains or your purses, who would it be? Who would be like your dream?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. If I could have anyone wear, who would it be? God, I don't know. Let me think on
I feel like, so a lot of people always say Reese Witherspoon to me, and I really see Reese Witherspoon like needlepoint. I think she probably needlepoints. I think she would be a great one, but
would be a great one. Is it dead or alive?
It could be anyone. Yeah, it could be dead or alive.
Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
You know who would really, I think, move the needle for me would be Martha Stewart. Gosh, Taylor Swift. I'd want Taylor Swift to wear one of my cuffs. Of course. Okay, there it is. Taylor
There
Swift.
it is. That's a perfect one. And she loves her grandma hobbies. She'd be great.
Yep. Yep. And she loves a friendship bracelet stack. So it would
Yes.
go perfectly with a stack. So
Yes. Oh my gosh. Perfect. So since this is the Preppy podcast, I always ask everyone, what does Preppy mean to you? So how would you describe Preppy?
Okay, I would describe Preppy as classic but comfortable. Because I think, confidence and comfort is something that always shows through in good style.
Yeah.
But like I told you before, my version of Preppy is different from like prep school Preppy, like classic Preppy. Because I melded like cheesy Forever 21 going out tops with my topsiders and, I huge earrings with my popped collars and puka shell necklaces and whatever. So I think it's a combination of, like I said, classic style, but something that you're comfortable with. So.
Yeah. Putting your own spin on it.
Yeah, put your own spin on it. I think that's important because don't get me wrong, prep school Preppy is classic and beautiful, but if that's not your jam and that's not your vibe, nobody pulls it off. You have to like live the lifestyle. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. So
yeah,
I think you got to put your own spin on it if you can.
1,000%. So, obviously you have this amazing business and a fabulous career too in communications and PR. So what's a resource that you can share with listeners, whether it's a great book, a newsletter you subscribe to, a group you're part of? Like, what's something that you'd recommend to people to check out?
Okay. So my sister gave me this book at Christmas, and it's about Henry Bendel, who had Bendel's on Fifth Avenue, but they recently closed. But it was about how he built his empire from like a small hat store in Greenwich Village to this beautiful, huge flagship store on Fifth Avenue. And I love that store, and I've always loved that store. So that was a great read. It's called Henry Bendel and the World He Fashioned by Tim Alice.
Okay.
That's a great read. It's just like fun, and there's lots of like fashion sketches in there and fun things to look at. So that's one. And then I am a huge subscriber of The Product Boss with Jacqueline Snyder. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she helps product-based businesses reach their potential, and she does coaching and she does workshops. And so I subscribe to all of her newsletters and I listen to her podcast, and I think she's a great resource. So those would be the two like big ones.
Okay. I'm definitely adding that book to, we have a little business book club that meets once a month. And so we're always looking for business books to read. And that one sounds right up my alley. I feel like the other ladies in it too would love it. So
yeah, it's a great resource for entrepreneurship. So it's a fun one.
Definitely. What are some brands that you love to pair with your designs? Like, are there any small businesses that you really like and think they're doing, great things and also pair nicely with yours?
Other small businesses. Well, I will say that I am a huge needle pointer in general. And so all of the small needlepoint businesses that have popped up, whether it be the little needlepoint shops or the big needlepoint companies that have just popped up, I'm a huge proponent of those, and I always have it in my lap, and I'm always stitching stuff. So those go great with, whatever I'm wearing.
Yeah.
But other small businesses, gosh, I have to really think about that. I really have to think about that.
Okay. There's a lot of great needlepoint ones.
There's so many good small businesses that I'm just like, who
would you pick?
Who would I pick? I mean, okay, so they're not small businesses, but I always wear my bracelets to go with my cuffs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Small businesses. I got to think about that.
Yeah, we can come back to that. So speaking of needlepoint, I love asking people about needlepoint, and what has been your favorite project that you've ever done needlepoint wise? Like, besides the stuff that you're making and selling with your design company, but is there something you've done and it has special meaning or a special memory with it?
Yeah. So right now, actually currently, I wish I had it, but I don't have it in this room. I'm actually working on a Henry Bendel store that I'm going to make into a stand-up for my bookshelf. So that's a great one. And probably, one One of my favorite places to vacation is Hilton Head Island. And I got this amazing ornament from Needlepoint Junction down there, and it's all the motifs on the island, and I hang it on my Christmas tree, and it's beautiful, and it just reminds me of the beach. And
Yeah. I love that. I can't wait to see this Henry Bendel one once it's finished.
it's pretty big. It's like, yeah, and it's a stand-up. So then I might get brave and venture into some other shop. I know they do Tiffany's, they do Louis Vuitton, they do all kinds of like Fifth Avenue stores that you can do like a stand-up village of, almost like the Le Petit Christmas village. Yeah.
Very fun. I mean, that store, I feel like growing up was just everything. Like first of all, they would do trunk shows and bring in all these other up and coming designers, but then even just their own branded products were so good. Like all the brown and white stripes, right?
All the brown and white stripes. Yes, I love it. And like you walked in and you were just like,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it smelled good. It looked good. The lighting was pretty. It was like so great. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. What piece of advice would you give someone listening who has a business or maybe aspires to start something? Like, what's one thing that you would share with them? Piece of advice or
I
inspiration?
think I would say just go for it. Like if you have an idea and you have something in your head, you should do it. You know, done is better than perfect. So if you wait around, it's never going to happen. Like you can perfect a social media post, you can perfect a product, you can perfect an email that you want to send to your customers. It's going to take forever because it's never going to be perfect. So just go for it. Send the email that you want to send, post what you want to post. And if it's way far out there and you're worried about it, have somebody gut check you and tell you to stay in your lane.
I love that.
Yeah.
Done is better than perfect for sure. So now you have this business, you're a mom of kids. Any tip for balancing, which I know that word doesn't really exist, but like any tip for trying to balance or staying organized?
No. No. So here's what I do. My kids come first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the mom first. I do everything for them, and I love every second of it because I know it's going to go by fast, and I think I have a little bit of a different perspective than I did before. So I cherish every moment. So like every milk spill, every time somebody doesn't listen to put their shoes on, every time we're late to practice, every time 3 people need to be in 3 different practices at once, like as frustrating and crazy and chaotic as that is, like it's beautiful and it's wonderful and I love it. So what I do is I squeeze in York Designs in between all that chaos, which makes even more chaos, but that's okay. So, you know, I do things like my son's in preschool 3 mornings a week. So while he's in preschool, I'm working on orders, I'm doing emails, I'm doing packaging and shipping. And then when he comes home and he eats lunch, I'm on my email and I'm responding to emails and doing that. And then when the girls get home from school and they're off to sports practices, I'm sitting there stitching at sports practices, you know, working on new designs and messing with colors and working on projects. So it's kind of like, it's crazy, it's chaotic, but it's a lot of fun.
But yes, I love fitting it in where you can. I'm the same way. Like I always say my best office is on an airplane. Like I can get so much work done on an airplane in between trips or a train. Like I work well like in a little bit of chaos or a lot on my plate. And it's all about like fitting in those like 5 minutes or like an hour here and there to make it all work and make sense.
For sure. And if I'm not doing 5 things at once, I'm not doing anything.
Exactly.
So it's just the way I operate. And I'm such a squirrel that like, you know, I'm so distracted by so many different things.
Yeah.
But I feel like under pressure and with that chaos, I get so much more accomplished. Like if there's one thing on my to-do list, it'll sit there till Friday. But if there's 20 million things on my to-do list, they all get done by Friday. So I don't know. It's just the way I operate. I mean, there are systems in place. I shouldn't say that there aren't, but you just kind of have to squeeze it in where you can in this season of life anyway.
Yes, 1,000%. Any sneak peeks, anything you're working on that you can share?
Yeah, so we are going to be dropping slimmer cuffs.
Ooh,
See that?
Yeah.
So our signature cuffs are 1.5 inches.
Okay.
But these are just 1 inch because they're easier to stack and like pair with other things.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, so we'll be doing those. And then Towards the end of the summer, early fall, we do monograms.
Fun.
Christmas presents, so I can't.
Okay.
If you can
Love
see
that.
that. So we do pre-orders for those.
Okay.
So that'll be a sneak peek, and that'll be available on all of our products. So cuffs, keychains, clutches, golf bags, all that stuff. So you can personalize.
Amazing. And so the thinner cuffs, are they going to be in all of your existing prints and patterns, or are they new, different ones?
They're going to be new and different because I'm hoping to, well, we have a few partners that we're thinking about working with, and we're going to try and hopefully do some intermittent drops with different designers. So like you'll see new designs from collaborations with our products. So I'm hoping that they can be on the thinner cuffs as well.
Amazing. Well, I am so excited and absolutely love chatting with you today, Laura, and going down memory lane and learning more about your business. Let everyone know where they can find you, your website, social media, all of that, so they can shop, support you, follow along.
All right. So we are at yorkdesignco.com, and social media, we're Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And I'm primarily on Instagram. Like that's where I'm spending most of my time on social media. And it's at York Design Co.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you so much. It was awesome talking with you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.